Hello everyone, and welcome back to Learn and Chat. Today we're going to explore a sport where the ball can move incredibly fast. Players jump, they dive, they block, they attack, and sometimes they save a ball only a few centimeters before it touches the floor. We're talking about volleyball. Volleyball is played around the world, from schools and local clubs to professional leagues, international tournaments, and the Olympic Games. But how does volleyball actually work? Let's make it simple. A volleyball court is divided into two sides by a net. Two teams compete against each other. In indoor volleyball, each team has 6 players on the court. The objective is simple. Send the ball over the net and make it touch the floor on your opponent's side. At the same time, you must stop the other team from doing the same thing to you. Every rally begins with a serve. A player stands behind the end line and hits the ball over the net. The other team tries to receive it. And this is where teamwork becomes extremely important. A team normally has a maximum of 3 touches to return the ball. A typical play looks like this. First, the pass, then the set, and finally the attack. The first player receives the ball and tries to control it. The second player usually sends the ball into a good position near the net. This is called a set. Then, another player jumps and attacks. This powerful attacking shot is often called a spike. Pass, set, spike. 3 actions that you will see again and again in volleyball. But the defending team is not simply waiting. Players near the net can jump and try to stop the attack. This is called a block. Behind them, other players prepare to defend. Sometimes, the ball comes down very quickly. A defender may need to dive toward the floor and save it at the last possible moment. This defensive action is often called a dig. And when a player makes an incredible save, the rally can continue. This creates some of the most exciting moments in volleyball. Attack, block, dig, set, attack again. The ball can move from one side to the other many times before someone finally wins the point. Now, how does the scoring work? Modern volleyball uses a system called rally scoring. This means that every rally produces a point. You do not need to be the serving team to score. Most sets are played to 25 points, but a team normally needs to win by at least 2 points. So if the score is 25-24, the set is not finished. The teams continue playing. 26-24 can win the set. But if the score becomes 26-26, they continue again. A volleyball match is normally best of 5 sets. The first team to win 3 sets wins the match. If the teams reach 2 sets each, they play a 5th and final set. That final set is normally played to 15 points, again with a 2-point advantage required. There's another important rule. Rotation. When the receiving team wins a rally, it earns the right to serve. The players then rotate 1 position clockwise. This means players move around the court during the match. But modern volleyball also has specialized positions. One of the most important is the setter. Think of the setter as the organizer of the attack. The setter decides which teammate will receive the ball for the next attack. A good setter needs quick hands and excellent decision-making. Then we have outside hitters. These players attack, but they also help receive serves and defend. Middle blockers usually play close to the center of the net. They need to jump quickly and try to stop attacks from the other team. An opposite hitter is another important attacking player. And then we have one of the most interesting positions, the libero. You can usually recognize the libero because this player wears a different colored jersey. The libero is a defensive specialist. This player is normally excellent at receiving serves, controlling difficult balls, and making defensive saves. The libero has special rules and does not play exactly like the other players. Volleyball is interesting because different skills must work together. Some players are extremely tall and powerful. Others are smaller and incredibly fast. Some are great attackers. Others are specialists in defense. But no player can control the game alone. Imagine an attacker receiving a difficult ball. That player usually needs a good pass, then a good set. Only then can the attack happen. Volleyball is built around cooperation. Now, let's learn some useful vocabulary. A serve starts the rally. A pass helps control the ball. A set prepares the attack. A spike is a powerful attacking shot. A block tries to stop an attack near the net. A dig is a defensive action used to save a difficult ball. A rally is the complete action from the serve until a team wins the point. And a libero is a defensive specialist who wears a different colored jersey. So now we understand the basic game. 6 players, 1 net, 3 touches, pass, set, attack, defend, rotate, and try to make the ball touch the opponent's court. Today, volleyball is fast, athletic, and highly organized. Professional players can jump incredibly high and attack the ball at tremendous speed. But the sport did not begin this way. To understand its story, we need to travel back more than 100 years. We need to go to the United States, to the state of Massachusetts, and to the year 1895. There, a physical education director named William G. Morgan was looking for a new type of game. Basketball already existed. In fact, it had been invented only a few years earlier. But Morgan wanted something different, something with less physical contact. So he began experimenting. He took ideas from different sports. He used a net. He used a ball. And eventually, he created a new game. But there was one important difference. He did not call it volleyball. Its first name was Mintonette. Mintonette was very different from the volleyball we know today. William G. Morgan wanted to create a game that was active and competitive, but with less physical contact than basketball. His idea was simple. Players would send a ball over a net. The ball should stay in the air, and the 2 sides would try to return it. In 1896, Morgan demonstrated his new game at a YMCA conference in Springfield, Massachusetts. During the demonstration, something important happened. A professor named Alfred T. Halstead noticed that players were volleying the ball back and forth over the net. He suggested a new name, volleyball. The name was accepted. Years later, the 2 words became one, volleyball. The sport began to spread through YMCA organizations. People played it in different parts of the United States. Then it traveled to other countries. But early volleyball did not have exactly the same rules everywhere. The number of players could be different. The size of the court could be different. And the scoring system continued to change. Over time, the sport became more organized. An important idea also appeared. Teams began using a system of 3 touches. One player could receive the ball, another could set it, and a third could attack. Does that sound familiar? Pass, set, spike. This basic combination helped transform volleyball into a faster and more strategic sport. As volleyball became more popular internationally, countries needed common rules and international organization. In 1947, representatives from different nations created the Fédération Internationale de Volleyball. We normally call it the FIV. The organization helped establish international standards and competitions. Then came the World Championships. The first men's volleyball World Championship was held in 1949. The first women's World Championship followed in 1952. Volleyball now had major international competitions. But another enormous moment was coming. The Olympic Games. In 1964, indoor volleyball became an Olympic sport at the Tokyo Games. For the first time, volleyball players could compete for Olympic gold. This gave the sport a much larger international audience. Countries began investing more in their national teams. Training improved. Tactics became more advanced. Players became stronger and faster. And international rivalries grew. Several countries became famous for their volleyball traditions. The Soviet Union was extremely successful during the early international era. Japan became especially important in women's volleyball. Brazil later developed into one of the great volleyball nations. Italy became a major force. The United States produced powerful national teams. Countries such as Poland, Cuba, China, Serbia, and others also created generations of excellent players. Volleyball was becoming truly global. But indoor volleyball was not the only version of the sport growing around the world. Another version had developed on beaches. Beach volleyball. Instead of 6 players on each side, beach volleyball normally has 2. 2 against 2. There is sand. There is sun. There is a net. And there is a lot of open space to defend. With only 2 players, each athlete needs to do almost everything. Serve, pass, set, attack, block, defend. Beach volleyball became especially popular in places such as California and Brazil. Eventually, it reached the biggest sporting stage in the world. In 1996, beach volleyball became an official Olympic sport at the Atlanta Games. Now volleyball had two major Olympic disciplines, indoor volleyball and beach volleyball. At the same time, indoor volleyball continued to evolve. One important change came with the libero position. Remember the player with the different color jersey? The libero became part of international volleyball near the end of the 20th century. The idea was to improve defense and create longer, more exciting rallies. The scoring system also changed. Older volleyball used a system where teams could often score only when they were serving. Modern rally scoring made every rally worth a point. This made matches easier to follow and more predictable in length. Television also became more important. Volleyball needed to be exciting not only inside the arena, but also for people watching at home. Cameras improved. Slow-motion replays showed the incredible speed of attacks and blocks. Fans could see how high players jumped. They could see the power of a spike. They could watch defensive saves from different angles. By the beginning of the 21st century, volleyball looked much more like the sport we know today. Fast, powerful, technical, and international. Brazil enjoyed an extraordinary period of success. Italy remained a major volleyball country. The United States continued producing strong teams. Russia was powerful. China became one of the most important nations in women's volleyball. And Poland developed one of the most passionate volleyball cultures in the world. International tournaments became major events. But something else was changing. The internet and social media were creating new opportunities. A spectacular volleyball rally could now travel around the world in seconds. A huge spike, an incredible block, a diving save. Millions of people could discover a player without watching an entire match on television. And this brings us closer to the volleyball world we know today. Let's review a few useful words. To invent means to create something new. To spread means to move or become popular in more places. International means involving different countries. A tournament is a competition with many teams or players. A national team represents a country. And an Olympic sport is a sport included in the Olympic Games. Volleyball had traveled a long way. From a YMCA gym in Massachusetts, to schools and clubs, to world championships, to the Olympic Games, and eventually to millions of screens around the world. Then, in 2016, a new period began. Over the next 10 years, volleyball would experience Olympic drama, new international competitions, new stars, growing women's volleyball, digital expansion, and some unforgettable matches. The modern era was ready to begin. The modern era was ready to begin. In 2016, the Olympic Games were held in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. For volleyball fans, the tournament created unforgettable moments. Brazil won the men's gold medal in front of its home fans. In the women's tournament, China became Olympic champion. But international volleyball was about to change. In 2018, a new annual competition was introduced. The Volleyball Nations League, usually called the VNL. The idea was to bring the world's best national teams together every year. Unlike the Olympic Games, which happen every 4 years, the VNL gives fans an important international tournament every season. The competition also travels between different countries. Teams play in several cities before the strongest nations advance to the final stage. This helped volleyball reach new audiences. The United States became very successful in the early years of the women's VNL. They won the first edition in 2018. Then they won again in 2019. The 2020 international season was affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. Sports around the world were interrupted. The Tokyo Olympic Games, originally planned for 2020, were moved to 2021. When Olympic volleyball finally returned, there were important results. France won the men's Olympic gold medal for the first time. The United States won the women's tournament. For the American women, it was also their first Olympic gold medal in indoor volleyball. The next few years showed how competitive international volleyball had become. Poland continued to be one of the strongest men's teams in the world. Italy became extremely powerful in both men's and women's volleyball. Japan attracted attention with fast play, excellent defense, and technical skill. Turkey became a major force in women's volleyball. And France continued to grow after its Olympic success. Then came the Paris Olympic Games in 2024. France had the opportunity to play in front of its home fans. The French men's team reached the final and won Olympic gold again. 2 consecutive Olympic titles. It was an extraordinary achievement. In the women's competition, Italy made history. The Italian women won their first Olympic volleyball gold medal. Italy defeated the United States in the final. It was another sign that Italian volleyball had entered a special period. Italy also won the Women's Volleyball Nations League in 2024. Then they won it again in 2025. On the men's side, Poland won the VNL in 2025. But the international season still had another major event. The 2025 World Championships. And Italy had an incredible year. The Italian women became world champions. Then, the Italian men traveled to the Philippines to defend the world title they had won in 2022. They reached the final against Bulgaria. Italy won the match, 3-1. The Italian men were world champions again. 2 consecutive world titles. Italy had become one of the central nations in modern volleyball. At the same time, new stars and younger players were attracting fans around the world. Social media changed how people follow the sport. Fans no longer needed to watch an entire match to discover an incredible player. A powerful spike could become a viral video. A spectacular defensive save could reach millions of people. A long rally could be shared around the world in minutes. Volleyball was becoming more visible. The VNL also continued to grow. By 2025, the competition expanded to 18 men's teams and 18 women's teams. In 2026, the tournament continued across multiple countries and continents. This international structure shows something important about modern volleyball. The sport is truly global. Europe has powerful teams. Asia has passionate fans and strong national programs. North and South America have important volleyball traditions. And countries that were not traditional powers are developing new generations of players. The international calendar is changing too. Starting with the 2025 editions, the Senior World Championships moved to a 2-year cycle and expanded to 32 teams for both men and women. And another change is coming. From 2027, the competition will use a new name. The FIV Volleyball World Cup. The men's tournament will be played in Poland. The women's tournament will be hosted by the United States and Canada. Then, in 2028, volleyball will return to the Olympic Games in Los Angeles. The story continues. Now, let's review some useful vocabulary. A gold medal is the prize for first place. A national team represents a country. To defend a title means to try to win a competition again after winning the previous edition. Back-to-back means winning something 2 times in a row. A world champion is the winner of a global championship. And a viral video is a video that becomes very popular online in a short time. Think about the journey volleyball has taken. It started in Massachusetts in 1895. Its original name was Mintonette. The game spread through schools and YMCA organizations. International competitions appeared. Volleyball entered the Olympic Games. Beach volleyball followed. Rules changed. Players became faster and stronger. New competitions were created. And during the last 10 years, volleyball became even more international, professional, and digital. But the basic idea is still beautifully simple. 6 players, 1 ball, 1 net, 3 touches, pass, set, attack, and never let the ball touch the floor. Thank you for listening to Learn and Chat. Remember, you are not only learning about volleyball today, you are also practicing your English. You do not need to understand every word. Listen for the main ideas. Learn a few new expressions. Then listen again. Little by little, your English will become easier to understand. Keep listening. Keep learning. Stay curious. And I'll see you in our next story.